Okay, let's just dive straight into this. Welcome to today's Explainer, where we're going to walk through a truly terrifying hypothetical that actually became one man's unimaginable reality. We're looking at the incredible true story of Aron Ralston. You probably know him as the man who cut off his own arm to survive. It's a raw, incredibly intense journey, and we're going to break down exactly how it happened, step by step. So let's get into it. Imagine heading out for what you think is just a simple, everyday hiking trip, and suddenly, you're trapped. You're in a place where literally nobody can hear you scream. There's zero phone signal to call for rescue, no food to keep your energy up, absolutely no way out. That feeling of total, absolute isolation, well, that's exactly where our story begins. Section 1, Journey into Blue John Canyon. So the date is April 26th, 2003. Aron Ralston, who was a really experienced mountain climber, sets out for a solo hike in Blue John Canyon out in Utah. But he makes one massive, totally critical error that day. Nobody knew his location. He didn't tell a single soul where he was going. He skipped that really fundamental safety step simply because he fully expected to be back that exact same day. Section 2, the 800-pound truck. 800 pounds. While navigating this really narrow section of the canyon, a massive boulder suddenly breaks loose. This 800-pound rock falls and just completely crushes his right arm against the solid canyon wall. He's instantly pinned. Just imagine the sudden shock of that, the immediate weight, and the utterly terrifying realization that you are literally anchored to the stone by 800 pounds of unyielding rock. Naturally, human instinct kicks right in. Aron's immediate attempts to escape the boulder were, well, completely logical, right? He exhausted every immediate option he had. First, he just pulled. He pulled with every ounce of bodily strength he had, trying to rip his arm free. When that failed, he pushed against the rock, trying to leverage it off. When brute force didn't cut it, he actually turned to his gear, using his climbing equipment to see if he could somehow rig a way to move the boulder. But absolutely nothing worked. That giant rock wouldn't budge a single inch. Section 3. 5 days of despair. Over the next 5 days, Aron endured some of the most severe mental and physical degradation you can possibly imagine. Day 1 was just dealing with the initial shock of being pinned. But as time slowly dragged on into days 2 through 4, he became incredibly weak. Severe dehydration set in. Actually fully believing he'd never leave that canyon alive, he started recording goodbye messages for his family. It's just heartbreaking to think about. And then, on the 5th day, Aron hit this terrifying, absolute realization. Because of that critical error we talked about a minute ago, nobody knew he was there. Nobody was coming for him. Section 4. The ultimate sacrifice. So the crucial point here boils down to a brutal binary choice. On one hand, stay trapped, which basically means waiting for a slow, inevitable death, pinned against a rock wall in the Utah desert. On the other hand, sacrifice his arm. Do the absolutely unthinkable to survive. There's no third option here. There's no rescue helicopter flying over looking for him. It's a stark, terrifying calculation of survival. And to make that choice even more horrifying, you have to consider the reality of his situation. His only available tool for this monumental, frankly gruesome task, a small, dull pocket knife. That's it. He didn't have surgical equipment. He didn't have heavy-duty saws. He just had this small, blunt, everyday carry blade. The psychological fortitude required to even look at that tool and know what had to be done, it's almost beyond comprehension. Let's clinically, and of course with the utmost respect, break down the agonizing steps of his escape. Step 1. Before he could even use that knife, Aron first had to forcefully break the bones in his trapped arm. Step 2. He then used that dull pocket knife to carefully cut through the remaining tissue. This incredibly grueling process took nearly an hour of almost unbearable pain. But listen, even after finally freeing himself, the nightmare wasn't over. Now missing an arm, profusely bleeding, and severely dehydrated, he had to climb down a nearly 65-foot cliff, using only one arm. And then finally, he had to walk for several miles through the unforgiving desert under the baking hot sun just to find help. It's literally a superhuman display of physical and mental endurance. Section 5. Rescue and Lasting Legacy. After walking all those miles in the desert, Aron finally ran into a family of hikers, and they immediately called for help. A rescue helicopter arrived just in the nick of time. Later on, the rescue doctors offered this pretty grim assessment. They said if Aron had waited much longer, he probably would not have survived. Every single minute, every second counted. It really highlights just how incredibly close to the very brink of death he truly was. But, Aron's story doesn't end with a rescue. It continues with profound resilience. He completely refused to let this horrific accident define his life or keep him down. In just an amazing show of spirit, he actually went right back to climbing mountains, this time using a specially designed prosthetic arm. His remarkable journey of survival went on to inspire millions around the globe, and in 2010, the whole incredible ordeal was adapted into the award-winning movie 127 Hours. He truly turned an absolute nightmare into a global beacon of human endurance. Aron Ralston's story is this intense reminder that the human will to survive is so much stronger than we often imagine. We're going to end today's explainer with this final provocative thought. Sometimes the hardest choices we make are the ones that save our lives. I really want you to genuinely think about that brutal binary choice Aron faced out there in the canyon and ask yourself, what would you sacrifice to survive? Thanks for walking through this incredible story with me today. Keep exploring, keep learning, and I'll see you in the next one.